Young and the Restless, Victor and Adam's explosive father-son showdown erupts. Young and the Restless expects things taking a very bad turn for Victor Newman, Eric Braeden, and his family. I think he and Adam Newman, Mark Grossman, are going to explode over this new twist that they've been dealt. Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, has snatched their 3 biggest companies and she bested the great Victor Newman. We're going to talk about Victor and Adam both going off the rails if they can't get the family companies back. But first, please click subscribe if you're not following us. Victor gets a shock on Young and the Restless. This week, Victor finds Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn, chloroformed and suspects that Phyllis did it. And of course she did. Victor was worried when he didn't hear back from Kane. And then he called Adam to come to the Kane train, too. They were wondering if Phyllis had planned all along to betray Kane. They also figured out that Billy Abbott, Jason Thompson, went over to the ranch to distract them while Phyllis was taking care of Kane. What they don't know at that point is that Phyllis, at that same moment, is in Victor Newman's former office taking everything from Kane and giving it to herself and her co-conspirator. Phyllis Summers pulls the ultimate heist on Newman Enterprises on YandR. Phyllis gave Newman Enterprises to herself. She signed Newman Media over to Sally Spectra, Courtney Hope, and gave Chancellor to Billy. Then Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley, showed up and was ranting at Phyllis and Billy, making threats about their kids, and stormed out. Victoria called and told Victor what happened to Newman Enterprises and Chancellor. Victor said they'll get it all back and more. I'm not sure what and more there could possibly be. Phyllis had nothing. I guess Victor can try and take Abbottcom or go after Jabot, but without the AI, it's not going to be easy. For now, Victor's empire is wiped out. It's gone. Victoria talked about using legal avenues, like with law enforcement, but Phyllis already told Billy that she can't do that because Victor would also go down since he used the AI. I think that's accurate. Right now, things look bleak, and I think Victor and Adam are both going to explode when they realize how thoroughly they have been bested by Phyllis. Right now, Billy's waffling since Victoria threatened to turn the kids against him, but I still don't think he'll give up Chancellor. Sally Spectra and the future of Newman Media on Young and the Restless. What's funny about Phyllis signing over Newman Media to Sally is that Sally used to run it with Adam. This move by Phyllis leaves him, Chelsea Lawson, Melissa Claire Egan, and all of the Newmans jobless. The easiest company for Victor and Adam to get back, I actually think, will be Newman Media. I think Sally will be shocked and displeased to find out that it's hers. And I don't think she's going to want it. I could see her going to Adam and offering Newman Media back with a caveat. Sally may say, "Look, I'll sign it over today. No dollars exchanging hands. For free, as long as Adam doesn't use it to trash Abbottcom or run any smear pieces about Jabot or any of the Abbotts." Adam and Chelsea would probably agree to that, because they didn't want to do that stuff anyway. But Victor might be so inflamed by what Phyllis did that he won't compromise to get Newman Media back. Victor may think that he can get it back himself without making any sort of deal with Sally. Victor Newman's broken promises to Lily Winters on Young and the Restless. Another problem that's going to leave Victor angry is that he's going to have to face Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, when she's back in Genoa City in a few weeks. I do think Adam is right and Victor promised Lily that she can have Chancellor if she played the kidnap game with him on Young and the Restless. Unless something changes, Billy is still going to have Chancellor when Lily gets back to Genoa City. Crystal Khalil is back taping after her maternity leave, so Lily's only gone a few more weeks. Then Victor is going to have to explain, "Oh yeah, by the way, I screwed you out of Chancellor again." Honestly, if Lily expected Victor to keep his word, that's kind of on her. But maybe Lily got something in writing which would be interesting, but also would be worthless since Victor doesn't own Chancellor anymore. Nikki Newman and the potential end of the Newman marriage. I'm sure Lily's return means Nikki Newman, Melody Thomas Scott, and the rest of the family are going to find out what Victor promised to get her to fake being kidnapped. Victoria already said if Victor promised Chancellor to Lily behind Nikki's back, it could end their marriage. Nikki was over at Jack Abbott's, Peter Bergman, saying she doesn't know how much she can take if Victor goes further. This is definitely further. Victor may try and say, "Well, it doesn't matter since Phyllis stole it." But yeah, it still does matter if he went behind everybody's back and made the deal, even if it didn't come to fruition. Victor may try and say he was lying to Lily, but that's not a good look either. I think Nikki may turn around and explode on Victor because all of this, in the end, is entirely his fault. Even what Phyllis is doing now is all Victor's fault. Phyllis Summers claims revenge for the Marco Anicelli trauma. Phyllis sitting on Victor's throne could completely destroy him. His kids are really worried that he'll have a health crisis over this. But Phyllis getting revenge on Victor has been a long time coming. What he did to Phyllis with Jack Abbott's doppelganger, Marco Anicelli, Peter Bergman, was horrific. Having him rape her day after day in her bed while pretending to be her husband. That truly broke Phyllis. Phyllis has always been Phyllis, but the Marco thing was really bad for her mental health. Victor has been owed major payback on that for years. Seeing Phyllis in his CEO seat is something I think Victor deserves, at least for a while. Kane Ashby and the Abbott family react to the Newman downfall on YandR. As for Kane, he may think this is all kind of funny. Once he wakes up from the chloroform, he will find out that Victor was bluffing about Lily and the twins. Phyllis taking everything while Kane was knocked out may just make him laugh because he gets to watch Victor and Adam burn while Phyllis gets the last laugh. Kane is just a spectator on the sidelines enjoying the show. Finding out that Lily conspired with Victor may push Kane to give up on Lily once and for all. Kane may tell Lily that he's glad Billy got Chancellor and not her. You never know, Kane might actually end up running Newman Enterprises with Phyllis. I could see Kane going over and apologizing once he realizes that Phyllis was right and Victor was lying to him. Phyllis would likely take Kane back because she always wants a partner in crime. And she has been hot for Kane for quite some time. Jack, Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, and Diane Jenkins, Susan Walters, would all have a really good laugh right in Victor's face about Phyllis beating him. Diane might even send Phyllis some flowers and champagne to congratulate her on being the new Newman CEO. Diane will be thrilled to find out Nikki lost Chancellor because she loathes Nikki right now. I've seen fan comments on Soap's social media. And one overriding theme is that they hope Victor is left to suffer for a while without his company. Fans do not want Victor to get it back from Phyllis too fast, because everybody's been irritated with the writing for Victor being power so currency, loyalty is tested daily, and family is both shield and weapon. On The Young and the Restless, no relationship embodies that volatile mix quite like Victor Newman and his son Adam. And now, the simmering tension between them has detonated into an all-out war, one that could permanently fracture the Newman dynasty. For years, Victor Newman has ruled his empire, and his family, with an iron fist. Calculating, commanding, and convinced he always knows best, Victor believes every move he makes is for the good of Newman Enterprises and the Newman name. But his youngest son, Adam Newman, is no longer willing to be the expendable piece on his father's chessboard. A betrayal too far. It began with whispers inside Newman Enterprises. Adam had poured months into a high-risk tech acquisition, one that promised to modernize the company and give him a long-awaited win in his father's eyes. He worked tirelessly, navigating board resistance and external threats. For once, Adam believed he had earned Victor's trust. But Victor had other plans. In a stunning move, Victor secretly rerouted the deal, cutting Adam out entirely and handing control to another Newman sibling. To Victor, it was strategy. To Adam, it was betrayal. Proof that no matter how hard he fought for his father's respect, he would always come up short. When Adam confronted Victor in the Newman office, the air crackled with fury. "You set me up to fail," Adam accused, his voice low but shaking with rage. Victor didn't flinch. "I protected this company from your impulsive decisions. You should be thanking me." And just like that, decades of resentment spilled to the surface. Old wounds reopened. Adam's pain isn't just about business. It never has been. He reminded Victor of the years he felt like an outsider. The secrets, the manipulation, the constant comparisons to his siblings. Adam has always walked a tightrope between craving his father's approval and rebelling against his control. Victor, however, refuses to accept that narrative. In his mind, he's given Adam more chances than anyone else would have. He's rescued him from scandals, reinstated him at the company, and defended him against enemies. "You sabotage yourself," Victor shot back during their explosive confrontation. "And then you blame me for the consequences." But Adam wasn't backing down. "This isn't about business. It's about you never seeing me as your son, only as a liability." For a fleeting second, Victor's steely gaze softened. But vulnerability isn't in Victor Newman's vocabulary for long. "If you want respect," Victor declared, "earn it." Lines in the sand. What makes this showdown even more dangerous is the collateral damage. The Newman family is once again divided. Some see Victor's actions as tough love, necessary to keep Adam from making reckless decisions. Others believe Victor crossed a line this time, underestimating just how far Adam is willing to go. And Adam is done playing by the rules. Behind closed doors, he's already plotting his next move. He has contacts, leverage, and just enough insider knowledge to shake Newman Enterprises to its core. If Victor thinks sidelining him will keep the company safe, he may have underestimated his own son. Adam's rage is no longer about winning his father's approval. It's about proving he doesn't need it. The ultimate power play. Sources close to the Newman inner circle hint that Adam may be aligning himself with an unlikely ally. Someone equally fed up with Victor's control. A rival company? A scorned executive? Even a Newman sibling nursing their own grudge? If Adam partners with an enemy of Newman Enterprises, the fallout could be catastrophic. Victor, meanwhile, isn't blind to the threat. He's already tightened security, restructured departments, and set traps to catch Adam if he dares to strike. But this isn't just another corporate battle. This is father versus son. Victor believes Adam will ultimately fold, that blood loyalty will override ambition. But Adam has reached a breaking point. "You don't get to control my life anymore," Adam warned during their final confrontation of the week. "Not my career. Not my future." Victor's response was chillingly calm. "We'll see." Emotional aftershocks. Beyond the boardroom, the emotional toll is mounting. Adam's relationships are strained. Those closest to him fear he's spiraling back into old patterns, self-destruction masked as empowerment. They've seen what happens when Adam feels cornered. He doesn't just fight back, he scorches the earth. Victor, too, feels the weight of the conflict, though he'd never admit it publicly. For all his bravado, there's a flicker of regret beneath his hardened exterior. He loves his children in his own complicated way, but love, for Victor, has always come second to power. The tragedy of their relationship is that both men are more alike than they care to admit. They're brilliant, strategic, ruthless when necessary, and utterly incapable of backing down. A dynasty at risk. The Newman legacy has survived hostile takeovers, romantic betrayals, and countless scandals. But this war between Victor and Adam could be its most devastating chapter yet. If Adam launches an attack on Newman Enterprises, the company could face financial instability and public scrutiny. Investors might panic. Competitors will circle like sharks. And if Victor retaliates with his usual force, Adam could lose everything he's worked to build. The question isn't who will strike first. It's who will strike hardest. Can this relationship be saved? Despite the fury and the threats, there's still an undercurrent of longing beneath their war. Adam has always wanted his father's unconditional love. Victor has always wanted a son who mirrors his strength without challenging his authority. But unconditional love and absolute control cannot coexist. Unless one of them chooses to break the cycle, this showdown will only escalate. Will Victor finally see Adam as an equal rather than a subordinate? Or will Adam's quest for independence push him into becoming the very adversary Victor fears most? In Genoa City, redemption is always possible, but so is revenge. As the dust settles from their explosive confrontation, one thing is certain. The battle between Victor and Adam is far from over. And when the next move is made, the entire Newman empire may tremble. Because when a Newman goes to war, no one walks away Victor untouched. Newman gets played at his own game. 4. In Genoa City, power has a pulse, and it beats in the chest of Victor Newman. For decades on the Young and the Restless, Victor has been the untouchable titan, the Black Knight guarding his empire with ruthless precision. Enemies have come and gone. Rivals have fallen. Even family members have learned that crossing Victor comes at a price. But what happens when the great Victor Newman, the man who prides himself on seeing 10 steps ahead, suddenly finds himself blindsided? Whispers are spreading through the marble halls of Newman Enterprises. And for once, they aren't whispers Victor orchestrated. A crack in the empire. Victor has always believed that control is everything. Control over business. Control over legacy. Control over family. But recently, subtle cracks have begun to form. Board members who once trembled at the sound of his voice now exchange cautious glances. Longtime allies hesitate before agreeing to his strategies. Even the markets seem to react unpredictably to Newman Enterprises' bold acquisitions. Victor senses it. He always does. Late at night, standing in his dimly lit office overlooking Genoa City, Victor studies the skyline as if it might confess its secrets. Something is shifting, and he doesn't like it. The mysterious move. The first sign comes with a quiet but devastating blow. A rival corporation swoops in and steals a deal Victor had carefully orchestrated for months. It wasn't luck. It wasn't coincidence. It was precision. The rival CEO knew every detail of Victor's bid, including confidential clauses only a handful of executives had access to. That realization hits Victor harder than the financial loss. Someone close to him is leaking information. And Victor Newman does not tolerate betrayal. Family tensions rise. Victor's instinct is to look inward, toward his own blood. His relationships with his children have always been complicated. Loyalty in the Newman family often feels conditional. Power struggles between siblings are nothing new. Victor calls a private family meeting at the ranch. The atmosphere is thick with tension. No one wants to be accused. No one wants to be suspected. But Victor wastes no time. He makes it clear, someone in this family is either weak or treacherous. His words land like a bomb. For years, Victor has ruled through strength. But this time, his heavy-handed approach may be pushing the very people he needs further away. The puppet master meets a new player. What Victor doesn't yet know is that the real mastermind behind the sabotage isn't sitting at his dinner table. It's someone from his past. A former associate, once underestimated, once dismissed, has quietly rebuilt themselves in the shadows. They studied Victor, learned his habits, predicted his responses. Where Victor relies on intimidation, this new adversary relies on subtlety. They leak false trails. They plant misleading information. They allow Victor to think he's winning, until the trap snaps shut. For the first time in years, Victor is reacting instead of controlling. And that shift is dangerous. Pride before the fall? Victor's greatest strength has always been his confidence. But that same confidence can blur into arrogance. Instead of confiding in trusted allies, he doubles down. He launches aggressive counterattacks. He threatens competitors publicly. He tightens his grip on Newman Enterprises. But the harder he squeezes, the more resistance he creates. Employees begin quietly updating resumes. Board members request independent audits. Even longtime confidants question whether Victor's obsession with crushing an invisible enemy is costing the company more than the enemy ever could. Is Victor protecting his empire, or destabilizing it? An emotional vulnerability. Behind closed doors, a rare moment unfolds. Victor sits alone at the ranch, staring at old family photographs. His late-night reflection reveals something we don't often see: doubt. Has his relentless pursuit of power alienated the very people who would defend him? Has he created a dynasty built on fear instead of loyalty? For a man who built an empire from nothing, the idea of losing it, not to force but to miscalculation, is unbearable. Yet vulnerability doesn't last long in Victor Newman. The next morning, he is back in the office, sharper than ever. The counterstrike. Victor devises a risky strategy. Instead of chasing the mole, he sets bait. He announces a fake merger plan, a bold, public move designed to draw out the leak. Only a select group receives the confidential details. If those details surface, he'll know exactly who betrayed him. It's classic Victor. Calculated. Cold. Strategic. But what if the mastermind already anticipates this? What if Victor's trap is exactly what they want? A shocking reveal. Days later, the fake merger information leaks, but not in the way Victor expects. Instead of appearing in a rival's press release, it shows up as part of a larger exposé about questionable practices within Newman Enterprises. The narrative paints Victor as manipulative, secretive, and dangerously unpredictable. Stock prices dip. Media outlets swarm. Victor is furious. But beneath the rage is something more unsettling. Someone isn't just targeting his business. They're targeting his reputation. And in Genoa City, reputation is power. The true endgame. As Victor scrambles to contain the fallout, clues finally surface pointing toward the true architect of his downfall. This enemy doesn't want Newman Enterprises. They want Victor humbled. They want him exposed as fallible. They want him to feel what so many others have felt after crossing him. Helpless. For perhaps the first time in the show's long history, viewers see Victor facing a battle he cannot win through brute force alone. He must adapt. He must trust. He must evolve. Redemption or ruin? The question now isn't whether Victor can crush this adversary. It's whether he can change. Will he rebuild bridges with his family instead of interrogating them? Will he share power instead of hoarding it? Will he learn that strength sometimes means vulnerability? Or will his refusal to bend finally break him? In classic The Young and the Restless fashion, the drama isn't just about corporate warfare. It's about legacy. Victor Newman has spent his life building something meant to last generations. But empires don't fall overnight. They erode. Through pride. Through isolation. Through the quiet realization that the world no longer fears you the way it once did. The final scene. For now. The storyline crescendos with Victor standing once again at his office window. This time, the city looks different. Not because it changed, but because he did. His phone rings. He answers with calm authority. Yes, he says quietly. It's time. Whether that means reconciliation or retaliation remains to be seen. Because in Genoa City, one thing is certain. You never count Victor Newman out. But for the first time in a long time, he may have finally met his match. A storm is coming to Genoa City 4. In Genoa City, peace is nothing more than a brief pause before the next betrayal. And this time, the storm brewing threatens to tear apart families, fortunes, and fragile hearts alike. The lights flicker inside Newman Enterprises as Victor Newman stands alone in his office, staring out at the city he believes he owns. He's built empires from ashes, crushed enemies without hesitation, and protected his family with ruthless precision. But what happens when the greatest threat isn't an outsider, but someone within? Victor senses it. A shift. A fracture. Loyalty is thinning, and even the mighty must watch their back. A dangerous game of power. Across town at Jabot, Jack Abbott is feeling that same chill in the air. The rivalry between Victor and Jack has defined Genoa City for decades, but this time the tension feels different, more personal, more volatile. Rumors swirl that a secret investor is quietly buying up shares connected to both Newman and Jabot subsidiaries. No one knows who is orchestrating it. Not Victor. Not Jack. Not even the sharp-eyed lawyers who usually detect trouble before it strikes. Phyllis Summers, however, smells opportunity. Phyllis has never met a fire she didn't want to dance in. She watches the corporate chaos unfold with a calculating smile. If Newman and Jabot implode at the same time, she could slide into a position of influence that changes everything. But playing both sides is a gamble, and Phyllis has a history of letting ambition override caution. And someone is watching her. Love on the brink. Meanwhile, Nick Newman finds himself caught between loyalty to his father and the need to carve his own path. Nick has always resisted becoming Victor 2.0, yet circumstances keep dragging him back into the family vortex. When he learns that the mysterious stock purchases trace back to a shell company once connected to a former Newman ally, Nick begins digging. The deeper he goes, the more unsettling the truth becomes. There are whispers of sabotage, not just financial but personal. And then there's Sally. Sally Spectra thought she had finally found stability. But stability in Genoa City is like glass, beautiful and fragile. She senses Nick pulling away, distracted and emotionally unavailable. When she confronts him, he insists he's protecting her. But from what? Sally has learned the hard way that secrets corrode relationships. If Nick doesn't open up, she may decide she's done waiting for a man torn between love and legacy. A shocking return. Just when tensions hit a breaking point, Genoa City is rocked by an unexpected return. A familiar face steps off a private jet under the cover of night. Someone long believed to be done with the power games of the city. Their reappearance isn't sentimental. It's strategic. This individual has knowledge, insider knowledge, about the financial maneuvering threatening both Newman Enterprises and Jabot. But instead of warning anyone, they begin quietly meeting with key players. First, they approach Adam Newman. Adam has always walked the line between redemption and ruin. His relationship with Victor is perpetually fractured, built on longing for approval and resentment for past wounds. When he's presented with an opportunity to finally step out of his father's shadow, permanently, temptation flickers in his eyes. Could Adam betray the Newman legacy to rebuild it in his own image? Betrayal in the Abbott mansion. At the Abbott mansion, Diane Jenkins senses something is off. She fought hard to reclaim her place in this family, and she won't let another scheme rip it away. When she overhears a cryptic conversation hinting at internal sabotage within Jabot, her instincts kick in. Is someone inside the company feeding information to an outside buyer? And if so, who? Kyle Abbott becomes defensive when Diane questions him. Their already strained relationship splinters further. Kyle insists he's loyal to the Abbott name, but Diane sees doubt in his eyes. Doubt about Jack's leadership. Doubt about the company's future. That doubt could be all it takes for someone else to swoop in. Phyllis's reckoning. Phyllis's secret meetings don't stay secret for long. When a private investigator hired by Victor captures photographic proof of her rendezvous with the mysterious investor, the fallout is immediate. Victor doesn't yell. He doesn't threaten. He smiles. Because now he has leverage. Phyllis realizes too late that she underestimated the mustache. Victor offers her a choice. Work exclusively for him and feed him information, or face total professional annihilation. For the first time in a long time, Phyllis looks genuinely cornered. But cornered animals are the most dangerous. The explosion. The climax comes during a high-profile charity gala hosted jointly by Newman Enterprises and Jabot, a symbolic show of unity meant to calm shareholder fears. The ballroom glitters. Cameras flash. Champagne flows. Then everything detonates. Midway through Victor's speech, financial documents leak live onto every screen in the room. Evidence of insider trading. Shell corporations. Coordinated manipulation. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Jack locks eyes with Victor. Accusation burns between them. Nick searches the room and finds Adam slipping quietly toward the exit. Security scrambles, reporters swarm, and within minutes, the illusion of stability collapses. Aftermath. Lines are drawn. By morning, Genoa City is divided. Victor vows revenge, convinced Jack orchestrated the humiliation. Jack insists he's been framed. Nick confronts Adam, demanding answers. Sally makes a decision about her future. Diane prepares to fight for the Abbott name with everything she has. And Phyllis? She disappears. No goodbye. No explanation. Just a trail of unanswered questions. Because if there's one thing Genoa City residents should know by now, it's this. When the dust settles, the real mastermind is usually the one no one suspected. As storm clouds gather once more over the skyline, alliances shift, love is tested, and power hangs in the balance. In Genoa City, survival isn't about being the strongest. It's about being the smartest.